I didn't expect my life to split into before and after over something as ordinary as grabbing lunch on a cold December afternoon. But sometimes the universe doesn't tap you on the shoulder. It grabs you by the collar and pulls you straight into someone else's story. And that's exactly what happened that day in Vancouver. Welcome to Storytime. Watch out and take care. I still remember the hiss of the bus brakes when I stepped off, the way the winter air slapped my face awake, and how I thought I was simply killing a few hours before heading back to Seattle. I had no plans, no obligations, just a day trip. A Tuesday, nothing special. But the moment I walked into that little cafe, warm lights, clinking cutlery, the smell of burnt espresso, I had no idea that within an hour, I'd meet someone who would completely rearrange the way I saw the world and myself. I was halfway through my sandwich, staring out the window the way you do when you let your mind wander. That's when I saw her. A tiny girl, 15 at most, curled up in the boarded-up doorway of a closed business next to the cafe. Everything about her looked cold. Her fingers, her clothes, even her expression. But what punched the air out of my lungs was the small, unmoving bundle in her arms. At first, I thought maybe it was some blankets or her things, but then I saw a tiny hand slip out from the folds. A baby. A baby, out in the cold. People walked past her like she was invisible. Or worse, like she was the problem they were choosing not to see. She rocked slightly, staring down, whispering something to the infant in her arms. When a passerby tossed her a few coins, she flinched, like she wasn't sure she deserved even that. God, I remember thinking, she's just a kid. I stared for what felt like 10 full minutes. I kept telling myself someone else would step in, someone older, someone wiser, someone who understood what the hell to do. But no one stopped. And suddenly, my food tasted like cardboard. I walked out with $5 in my hand. That was the plan, give her enough for food and get back to my day. I even rehearsed what I'd say. Hey, maybe get yourself something warm. Easy, simple, no deeper involvement. But the moment I got close, I heard it, the sound she was hiding behind the calm mask she tried to wear. A tiny, broken sob. When she finally looked up at me, her eyes were swollen, red-rimmed, terrified, and so unbelievably young. "Any change?" she whispered, voice cracking as she tightened her grip on the baby. I forgot every line I'd practiced. "How about some lunch?" I blurted out. She blinked, confused by the offer, or maybe by the kindness. Kindness can be startling when the world hasn't shown you any for a long time. I walked her into the Quick Trip store next door and bought formula, something I never thought I'd be doing in the middle of a day off. The baby, maybe 2 or 3 months old, whimpered softly against her chest. She held him with such careful instinct that it made her look older and younger at the same time. Back at the cafe, she inhaled a burger so fast I worried she'd choke. Then pie. Then ice cream. Her hands shook throughout the whole thing, and every now and then she'd glance around nervously, like she expected someone to swoop in and take the moment away. When she finally slowed down enough to talk, she told me her name, Makla. Her son was Joe. She told me she'd been gone almost a year. 15 years old, pregnant, scared, fighting constantly with her parents. She ran away in what she described as a moment of desperation. But the part that caught her voice in her throat was this. "I stole money from my dad, $5,000. She said it like she was confessing to murder. She waited for me to judge her, to condemn her. But all I could think was how a terrified 15-year-old, carrying a life she didn't feel prepared for, feeling rejected by the people she needed most, made a mistake she didn't know how to undo. "Do you want to go home?" I asked gently. That question changed everything. She froze, her eyes watered immediately. She didn't shake her head. She didn't nod, she just looked haunted. "They don't want me back," she whispered. "Not after what I did." But I could tell, every fiber of her being wanted to go home. I offered her my phone. She refused. I offered to call for her. She refused. I tried again, gently, patiently. Eventually, she gave in. When her mom answered, I introduced myself awkwardly, explaining that her daughter wanted to speak with her. There was silence, then a sound I'll never forget. Her mother cried, hard. I handed the phone to Makla, who sat in pure, stunned silence for several seconds before whispering a trembling. Mom. The dam broke, both sides sobbing, both scared, both relieved, both trying to claw their way across the gap between them. For the first time, hope drifted into the space around us. After a few minutes, she handed the phone back to me with shaky fingers. I spoke with her mom, explaining where we were, that the baby was healthy enough, that Makla was safe. She kept thanking me over and over. I didn't feel like I deserved any thanks. I was just a guy who sat near a window at the right time. I drove her to the bus station, bought her a ticket home, gave her $100 for the road, formula, diapers, wipes, snacks. At the gate, she hugged me so tightly I could feel the bones in her shoulders. Tears soaked into my jacket. Thank you, she kept saying. Thank you, thank you. I kissed her forehead, kissed baby Joe's tiny hand. And then she was gone. That night I didn't tell anyone, not a soul. It felt too fragile. Like if I said it out loud, the magic of that moment, the redemption, the humanity might evaporate. Every Christmas, a card arrived. Makla's handwriting grew steadier each year. Her updates became longer. She got her GED. Then a job. Then college. Joe became a lean, mean, advanced reading machine, devouring books years above his age. He drew Wolverine comics and apparently informed her proudly. He's Canadian, you know that. The kid had goals. Comics and pizzas. Ambition comes in all flavors. Her father started sending me homemade whiskey, surprisingly good, honestly. Her parents wanted to visit me and my daughter someday. But there was one thing I never expected. I never told anyone in my real life, not when I got home that night, not that week, not that month. It became my secret memory, my private reminder that even one small moment of decency can change the trajectory of someone's entire existence. But then I got married again, built a new life, a new family. And suddenly, the past wasn't so far behind me. How do you look at your wife and casually say, "Oh, by the way, 15 years ago I helped a runaway teenage mother reunite with her family, funded her journey home, stayed in touch for years, and now her parents want to visit." You don't just drop that into dinner conversation. But life has a funny way of pushing you toward truths you've been avoiding. Instead of spiraling over how to reveal everything, I made a different choice, one that felt honest, adult, and rooted in who I was becoming. I sat my wife down one evening, no build-up, no theatrics, and told her everything, every single part of the story I had locked away. She listened without interrupting, eyes softening as the story unfolded. When I finished, expecting judgment, confusion, or even anger, she smiled gently. "I'm glad," she said. "I'm glad you did that. I'm glad Joe and Makla have you in their story, and I'm glad I get to know this part of you." It felt like exhaling a breath I'd held for 15 years. Today, the story isn't a secret anymore. Makla visits sometimes, with Joe, who's now older, funnier, and still obsessed with Wolverine. Our families share meals, memories, and the strange connection born from a moment in a cold doorway in Vancouver. And looking back, I realize the lesson I carry with me. You never know the weight of kindness while you're doing it. You only learn its value years later, when you see the life it helped shape. Some stories don't change the world, but some change someone's world. And sometimes that's enough. Thanks for watching the whole story. Hit like to support the channel,